The courthouse clock read 9:15 a.m. when Judge Margaret Coleman finally lifted her eyes. She wore her authority like armor. Pristine black robe, silver hair in a severe bun, glasses that glinted like ice. Across the room, Daniela Oliveira stood in light blue scrubs, dried blood dark around her shoulder and collar. Not her blood, someone else's. Someone she had fought to keep alive. Her hands trembled around a worn manila folder. She had been awake for 14 hours, running from trauma room to trauma room, her body running on caffeine and duty. Judge Coleman's voice cracked the silence. "Miss Oliveira," she said, each syllable cold. "I see you decided to appear in my courtroom wearing that." The word that hung like an accusation. Murmurs rippled through the benches. 3 nurses, still in uniforms themselves, exchanged a glance, outrage and fear mixing in their eyes. On the opposite side, Martin Reynolds, Daniela's ex-husband, leaned back in his expensive suit. His tie was Italian silk. His shoes gleamed. His smile was faint, but satisfied. This was his arena. Daniela swallowed. "I came straight from the hospital, Your Honor," she said. There was no time to change. Judge Coleman didn't soften. "This is not breakfast at a diner, Miss Oliveira. This is a federal courtroom. Where's your respect for this institution?" Daniela's heart pounded. She could still hear a child's heartbeat under her palms. The frantic rhythm of life returning. She inhaled. "I apologize. I did the best I could." Judge Coleman waved a hand at her clothing like she was brushing away dust. "Could you truly not make the slightest effort to dress properly for a hearing concerning custody of your children?" Gasped from the gallery. Martin's smile sharpened. The room freezes. Daniela's exhaustion burned into something else. Anger. Not for herself. For every nurse who had run from death into bureaucracy. For every mother who had been judged by surface instead of substance. "Your Honor," she said, steadier now. "These stains are from a 9-year-old girl who was in a car accident 6 hours ago. She arrived at the ER without a pulse." Silence fell so thick it felt physical. Daniela continued. "I performed CPR for 47 minutes. We stabilized her. She's alive today." Not a whisper. Not a breath. Daniela swallowed hard. "I had 18 minutes to wash my face, tie my hair, and drive here. My choice was to change clothes or be on time." Judge Coleman adjusted her glasses, discomfort flickering across her features. "This courtroom has standards for a reason." Daniela's voice trembled, not from weakness, but from truth. "And children have lives for a reason, Your Honor." A sound, half sob, half admiration, escaped someone in the gallery. The bailiff shot a stern glare. Martin whispered to his lawyer, smug. Daniela saw that whisper. She had seen it during their marriage. A whisper that always meant, "I'm winning." The allegation. Judge Coleman leaned forward. "There is always a choice, and you chose wrong. Your judgment as a mother is now in question." Daniela's attorney, Dr. Matthias, opened his mouth. "Your Honor, I'm not finished." The judge's voice cracked like glass. "This is a hearing to determine whether Miss Oliveira can maintain shared custody. A mother who cannot dress properly does not inspire confidence." Daniela felt her chest tighten. She was exhausted, but she was not weak. For 3 months, she'd watched Martin assemble a legal army. His lawyers painted her as unstable, absent, negligent. They hadn't seen the nights she came home at dawn, kissed her sleeping sons, collapsed on the floor. They didn't know that she had saved more lives in 1 week than Martin would in a lifetime. The room holds its breath. Daniela faced the judge. "With all due respect," she said quietly, "while everyone in this room slept, I held a child the same age as mine and begged her heart to keep beating." Her voice cracked. "My hands still smell of betadine." She lifted her palms, faint stains of iodine etched into her skin. Some things don't wash off that easily. The judge stared. Around the room, people shifted, uncomfortable. Someone whispered, "My God." But Daniela wasn't finished. She had spent 3 months documenting everything, every dig, every lie, every manipulation from her ex-husband. On her lawyer's table lay a laptop. Inside it, evidence that would shake the courthouse. Not yet, but soon. The break. Martin's lawyer rose, presenting photographs of Daniela arriving late to pick up her children, text messages about shift changes, neighbors claiming the twins stayed with their grandmother. Miss Oliveira prioritizes her career over motherhood, he said. Her appearance today is proof. Judge Coleman nodded. Shall we take a recess? Perhaps Miss Oliveira will consider our proposal. Full custody to Martin. Supervised visits for her. Daniela's stomach churned. She stepped into the hallway and sank onto a bench. Her legs throbbed. Her eyes burned. She had saved a child and now was being called unfit for being late to change clothes. A voice cut through her fog. Are you Daniela Oliveira? Daniela looked up. A black woman in a tailored suit stood before her. Elegant, calm, power in her posture. Dr. Renata Mendez, she introduced. President of the Association of Women Jurists. Daniela blinked. I can't afford another lawyer. Renata smiled. Good. I'm not offering my services. I'm offering a revolution. The conspiracy. Renata leaned in. For 6 months, we have tracked a pattern in Judge Coleman's decisions, especially against black mothers in essential professions. What happened in that courtroom was not an isolated incident. Daniela's pulse quickened. What does that mean for me? It means you're not alone, Renata said, and you have more leverage than you realize. When the hearing resumed, Daniela stood. Your Honor, I decline the custody offer, and I request an adjournment to secure legal counsel. Judge Coleman sighed. 2 weeks, and I hope you appear dressed appropriately. Martin exploded. This is ridiculous. She's stalling. Daniela watched his anger. Men who were afraid always revealed themselves. She realized something. He was in a hurry. People in a hurry made mistakes. That night, in Renata's office, they reviewed documents, emails, patterns, a statistic of injustice, and then a message from Martin to his lawyer. I got Judge Coleman. Perfect track record. Full custody, then London. Immigration documents already processing. Daniela's blood went cold. He had never mentioned London. Renata looked up. Illegal, unethical, and extremely useful for us. Daniela whispered. He's spying on me. Renata raised an eyebrow. Are you sure? No, Daniela said. But I can find out. Nurses didn't guess. They knew. The return. 2 weeks later, the courtroom was full. Nurses filled the back row, arms crossed. Reporters stood with cameras. The video of Daniela's humiliation had gone viral. It sparked outrage. It sparked support. This time, Daniela wore a simple black dress. No makeup, no attempt to impress. Her dignity was enough. Judge Coleman entered, composed. Too composed. Martin strutted in, confident. He nodded, just slightly, to the judge. 3 cameras caught it. Renata stood. Your Honor, before evidence, we request your recusal. The room erupted. Judge Coleman's face reddened. On what grounds? Renata lifted a folder. Conflict of interest. Systemic bias. We have private communications between you and Mr. Reynolds before this case began. Martin's head snapped around. Renata lifted a second folder. 17 custody cases involving black mothers in essential professions. Same pattern, same outcome. And then a third. Emails describing immigration plans to remove the children to London without maternal consent. Judge Coleman slammed the gavel. Recess. Before she could stand, Renata spoke calmly. We request Mr. Reynolds remain in the building. He is a flight risk. The judge froze. The truth. When court resumed, a new judge presided. Judge Marissa Santos. Ethics. Presence. Gravity. Judge Coleman has recused. We begin fresh. For 90 minutes, Renata presented everything. Emails, immigration documents, spying device, testimonies, school reports, and finally, she held up a USB. Recordings. Made by Mr. Reynolds. Without consent. A clip played. Martin's voice. I need the children in London if I want to impress the board. A stable family means reliability. Do whatever you must. A collective gasp filled the room. Judge Santos turned. Miss Oliveira, anything to add? Daniela stood. Her voice was soft, but unbreakable. I'm not here to destroy the father of my children. I'm here to protect them. They are not props for ambition. The judge nodded. Mr. Reynolds? Martin stared at his shoes. No, Your Honor. The verdict. The decision was swift. Full custody to Daniela. Supervised visits for Martin. No international travel without consent. Criminal investigation for espionage and attempted removal of minors. And then, Judicial Ethics Board will review Judge Coleman's cases. The gavel struck. The room exploded in applause. Nurses rose to their feet. Reporters ran for the doors. Martin whispered, You destroyed my career. Daniela looked at him calm. No, you destroyed it when you treated our children like accessories. He glared. This isn't over. She gathered her things. It ended when you underestimated a mother who holds broken hearts in her hands every day. Did you truly think I would fight any less for my own? She walked out through a wall of nurses. A weight lifted. A system shifted. 1 month later, a new sign appeared at the courthouse entrance. Health and essential workers may wear uniforms in all hearings. Discrimination will result in disciplinary action. 17 of Judge Coleman's cases were reopened. 5 already reversed. Martin's transfer to London was canceled. He was fired. More women came forward. Patterns unraveled. And Daniela? She walked through the park with her sons when Renata called. The National Council just approved the Oliveira Resolution. Courts must implement measures against professional and racial prejudice. Daniela watched her boys laugh. I never imagined a stained uniform could change so much. Renata's voice was warm. It wasn't the uniform. It was your courage not to apologize for saving lives. Legacy. At the hospital, colleagues surprised her with a mural. Dozens of signed uniforms. In the center, some stains are medals of honor. Months later, Daniela sat at a Justice Ministry meeting. Across the table sat Judge Coleman, now a student in a mandatory training on unconscious bias. Their eyes met. No triumph. No revenge. Only transformation. That night, Daniela tucked her sons into bed. Mama, one asked, Why didn't the judge like your uniform? Daniela smiled gently. Some people confuse what's important with what only looks important. Your clothes don't define your worth. What you do with your heart does. She kissed their foreheads. The world had changed a little. Because she didn't change clothes. She changed everything.